Hello everyone, just a quick video to share a resource from a friend I made recently who is a Gnostic who shares the Gnostic teachings. As you know, if you follow this channel, a lot of what I talk about is based from or inspired by or influenced from the Gnostic teachings, and also more specifically by the Master Samael Aron Veyor. Now, I'd love to just share this Gnostic resource with you right away, but I also want to invite the right people. If you go deep into any religion or school, there is always a next level of teachings given when the student is ready, a secret set of instructions for the practitioner to follow. In the same spirit, I have to tell you some of the main things that are required so you can judge whether it's right for you to join this sort of Gnostic group or not. So don't skip to the end of the video, but consider everything I'm saying first. It's in your best interest. So these teachings are deep, and so if you already feel this isn't for you or have any doubts while you listen to this, just stop watching the video now or at any point, okay? The Gnostic movement has never cared about having lots of people or followers or subscribers. It has always preferred one serious student over 1,000 half-hearted students, okay? So with that, let me go over you could say, conditions for joining. Conditions in the sense that you, at the minimum, accept, understand, or even better, practice to whatever degree the following 4 principles. Number 1, deep meditation. This means that you somewhat understand the necessity of meditation in order to awaken consciousness. You also understand that 10 to 15 minutes of meditation a day just doesn't cut it. That whether you practice it or not, you understand that 1 hour or 2 hours or even higher than 3 hours a day is much more ideal if you really want to awaken. Number 2, psychological death. This means that you somewhat understand the necessity of the total annihilation of the ego. Now, I know some people will usually comment and say, well, I believe I should keep some parts of my ego because it's good for me and I can function better in the world, etc. Look, that's fine. This is probably not for you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but anyone who has seriously worked on dissolving the ego tends not to say anything like that because they understand how sly and tricky the nature of the ego is and its terrible multiplicity within the web of our subconscious mind. A proper student would always stress the importance of total, disciplined, psychological comprehension that leads to the dissolution of the ego. Okay? Principle 3, sexual transmutation, or what we call in Gnosticism, suprasexuality. This means that you somewhat understand the importance of white tantra, that is, the total avoidance of genital orgasm in order to create a permanent cultivation of sexual energy in regards to your spiritual awakening. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, see my episode on sexual transmutation and also the episode on the sacral chakra episode. And also, one of the most important parts of transmutation is related to something that I've not yet mentioned on my channel, which is the very last principle, number 4. The creation of the solar astral body and the death of the lunar astral body. Now, I've never talked about this explicitly because it's something very esoteric, right? It's not exoteric, meaning it's something the general public will not understand, even in astral projection or out-of-body experience communities. Name the biggest names in the industry. like Robert Monroe, William Bullman, etc. I guarantee most of them don't understand or have never heard of the difference between the solar astral body and the lunar astral body. Again, this is esoteric knowledge, occult knowledge. In order to understand it fully, one must practice it fully. It is very hard to understand just from words and even from how I'm about to describe it. So, to try and just describe it for you, firstly, as we are unconscious beings with about 97% of our consciousness asleep, bottled up in the world of the subconscious, we are lunar people. Meaning, like the moon, we take a projection of pure light from the sun, pure consciousness, and twist it into something else, into 97% fantasies of the ego. Now, the lunar astral body is what most of us use, and it's what we're born with, and it's what we use after the death of the physical body. Now, the problem with the lunar astral body is that it is based in the ego, and that makes it difficult to use in a conscious way, in the full sense of the word conscious. On the other hand, the solar astral body is something we don't have, but something we create, we cultivate and develop. And it is not about using the light of the ego, but using the direct light of the sun. That is, becoming a being of pure light ourselves, a truly illuminated, awakened human being who generates their own light from within. Not like the moon, which doesn't have its own light, right? Now, with the lunar astral body, we say things like, oh, last weekend I had an amazing spiritual experience, or oh, last year I had a life-changing out-of-body experience. That's all great, but to talk frankly, what does it matter if we had some great experiences yesterday or 10 years ago? What we care about is, what are you experiencing right now? What kind of consciousness have you become right now? Are you asleep, dreaming about spiritual experiences? Or are you an awakened being who has become a living embodiment of experience, of knowledge, of gnosis from moment to moment? And where are you going from here, regardless of your experiences? Are you able to astral project every single night or whenever you like? Or are you just hoping for experiences every now and then? So, the solar astral body is about developing a permanent awakened state, a permanent center of gravity with full control and cognizance over our inner faculties, over our astral body, just like how the masters are. And what is one of the core principles in the Gnostic teachings in attaining this? It is found in the third point I just spoke about, sexual transmutation. For it is in sex we were born, and sex where we can be reborn. Reborn from the seed that germinates through practice. Consistent, disciplined practice where we never fall, never make mistakes, never make errors, and this endows us over time with solar forces through the sexual glands and the endocrine system. To use a nice reference, Gurdjieff summarizes this aspect very well in the quote on the screen, which is about how we constantly add salt, which is the product of sexual alchemy or sahaja methuna, and that by creating a controlled surplus of this energy, literally creates our legitimate astral body, our permanent, almost material astral body. Okay, so I don't expect everyone to understand this. As I said, this is a spiritual mystery to be studied. Those who have had a sincere desire to understand my work on this YouTube will have followed my recommendations to see the links and resources that I've left in many of my videos, and they would have looked into specific Gnostic resources I've given and will somewhat understand all four of these principles and how they connect. If you are one of those people and you love these principles, then you are free to use this resource that I'm about to give. Most of us, when looking for spiritual teachings, either look for entertainment or comfort and to be soothed, right? In some way. But if you're looking for something not entertaining, not easy, not comforting, but want something difficult, challenging, and that goes to the core of real awakening, and you want to feel the benefits of disciplined, upright, conscious, self sacrificing effort, and you feel you're ready for that level of intensity in your spiritual awakening, then join and work through the material. If you have no intention of working through the material, or you're just merely interested on an intellectual level instead of living the material, honestly, it's not really worth you joining, because it can, in a way, sometimes cause more harm than good, because you read the teachings, and because you're not practicing, then you may wallow in self-pity, because your ego says things like, oh, this is too hard, I'm not ready, I'm useless, I'm worthless, etc. And obviously those kinds of thoughts serve no purpose other than to detriment our suffering even more, right? Which is the opposite of what we want to achieve. So my point is, if you are not ready to practice the material, because most of it is practical, then it is very difficult to control the mind and stop it from telling you these negative thoughts that hurt your self-esteem, because the interested part in you wants to do it and the practical part of you doesn't want to do it. And that creates conflict. And that's just not what we want, right? Okay, so with all of this in mind, this resource is actually in the form of a Telegram group. So if you'd like to join, you'll need to download the Telegram app, which is on mobile and desktop. I'll leave links in the description below. And in this group, there's no talking from the members, but just where my very kind Gnostic friend posts daily Gnostic teachings there in a sequential and bite-sized form for you to read each day. You see, this is commonly how the Gnostic teachings are spread through someone who is, practicing the material in a serious way and able to communicate it to everyone in this kind of era that we're in, so that it is relatable and easier for us to comprehend all of this very deep material. And so, yes, he posts all of this information, and it's all just really powerful to read and meditate on every day. If you join, be sure to see the pinned messages, which will take you to the first posts, and then work your way down through the content. Near the top, you'll also see a little introduction from my friend there too, where he also includes his own astral experience with the Master Samael Aon Veyor, who essentially told him in his own way to create this app to help people. So yes, eventually he will be putting all of this information into an app, which I've previewed and looks great. It will also have the teachings in spoken word audio format too. And yes, this official Gnostic app will be released in a few months, he said. But in the meantime, there are these daily teachings on there, and there's something that I personally follow too, so we'll all be reading together for the few of you who choose to join. Okay, well, all of the links are in the description below. I could have just told you that at the start, but I wanted you to listen to me first. Okay, so yes, this is just a very good resource to really understand the Gnostic teachings in a more clearer way, a more contemplative way. And yes, I hope you enjoy. Thanks, everyone, and see you on the next episode.